give me a little bit of background on who you are, your playing career, where you train, and how people can get in contact with you?
Yeah, so my name is Edwin. I'm the head coach here. I graduated from South Elgin in 2010. I've actually played there all 4 years, and I actually came to play here 2 years at Elgin. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at this Edwin Jar Coach. You can find me on there.
Okay. Have you seen any shifts in youth sports since the pandemic started? But the latter part of that question is more or less when these kids are becoming older and they're trying to choose a travel program or choose a college, like what kind of insight can you give them?
Yeah, so I think growing up, and even myself, just being like in those shoes before,
Mm.
right? I feel like everyone is always telling you to view every option, right?
Yep.
To view NCAA, NAIA, JUCO. I mean, and that goes with travel as well,
Hmm.
right? To view like every travel soccer team as a college choice because I mean they all can give you different options, different opinions on it.
Yep.
But once you get to that high school and travel soccer,
Hmm.
that's kind of where they try to stay away from NAIA and JUCO, right? Because essentially everyone is quoted, right? So those high school coaches or those travel coaches are viewed on just who can get their students to NCAA level, right? And
Hmm.
they always view it as D1 or D2, or that's it, right?
Okay.
That's the biggest thing right now that everyone's trying to fight. But obviously now that with the pandemic, those spots are dry, right?
Okay.
And it's very hard for them to achieve that.
Hmm.
So I think now coaches in high school level travel are kind of being more open to kind of going down to D3, NAI, and even JUCO for a year or two,
Hmm.
so they can explore and just wait for those NCAA, just Division One and Two spots to open up again, so
Right.
they can just take those and hopefully get some type of scholarship money on that.
Okay. So, what are some goals you think the youth should have in mind, high school all the way through college, when they pursue their athletic career?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think once you're there and kind of even trying to get to that level, it's kind of, understanding that you have to fight for those minutes regardless of what position you're in.
Hmm.
But I know in high school it's very hard to do that, especially when you're trying to get recruited by these other coaches as well.
Hmm.
I think goals in mind is like just keep working on your craft, whether that's just in practice because you don't have minutes during games.
Yeah.
We can have great individuals come after that,
Hmm.
and kind of set those goals like on themselves.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you think parents have enough information when it comes to athletics? And how would a parent potentially get their child involved with you for training or anybody out there that is, looking to help?
Yeah, I don't believe parents or students have like all the information out there,
Hmm.
right? And I'm saying that from experience because I was able to grab one of my recruits. And one of the things I mentioned personally is as much as I want to grab that recruit, like I'm very open to kind of like answering any questions that they might have because I feel like every college coach will essentially lie to them to
Hmm.
kind of just get them there, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like we want to get numbers, but essentially, I don't believe out of high school that parents and even students again understand what the full process is.
Hmm.
Where I would definitely kind of give them a breakdown of that, right? It's like, hey, like I understand we're not NCAA type of schools and level and stuff like that, but I'll give you a breakdown. It's like, hey, like in June, like you should be doing this. In July, you actually break it down to more specific things,
Hmm.
and August your season's alive. And obviously, that's 3 months right there. That's before our season starts,
Hmm.
where NCAA level might do 5 months, ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
And kind of breaking everything down and understanding, like the financial plans, like all that stuff. But really, like just focusing on what that student athlete and parents just need to do within like a certain time frame.
Hmm.
For a certain time frame, that's all you have before the next step happens for that school.
Yeah. They obviously touchy one. Athletes and social media. How can it help? How can it hinder?
Yeah, so obviously overall social media is it's a great platform to obviously push yourself, but also hurt you
Hmm.
like as an individual. typing one thing wrong, or just putting like the wrong message, or liking one thing and just reposting, and everything that comes with it. It can make a big impact, as far as your recruitment, as far as a sport, or just getting into a school in general. Luckily, as far as the soccer side, I feel like we're a little like on the safer side as far as like our student athletes, where they don't really post much, or if they do post it, it just highlights or retweeting certain just quotes about just soccer related things.
Yep.
Where I feel like that's kind of like the safe side on it, but we've definitely seen where parents are actually going to be worse than the actual student, where they're critiquing refs, or they're critiquing like the coaches, or being coaches when their coach is actually trying to be a coach in that moment, right?
Yeah.
I think that alone hurts the student more than them just doing their social media thing. Where I've seen that personally in games, and I've seen that actually live, where parents are actually on their social media, just texting people, FaceTiming people, kind of doing those trends. That it actually makes me like not want to recruit that kid, not because that kid isn't great, and like I'm sure that social media is clean. But at the end of the day, like I also have to work with the parent if the parent's going to be like on the sideline and I'm coaching. Like I don't want them to focus on their parent. I want them to focus on me, because I'm the one like giving them the opportunity to play here.
Right. Understood. And I just dealt with that over the weekend in the AAU tournament, where one of my kids, he's struggling. He hits a three. He decides to eye the kid. And his parent decides to eye the referee because fouls were not being called. Okay, cool. Timeout. You know why I call this timeout, fellas? No, but we just got back in the game. I don't care about that right now. I care about you guys are vying to get varsity minutes. Cool. We understand that. Our job is to make you better within this AAU session. Now, the next part about that is the referee gave you a technical foul warning, right? I said, yeah. Why did he do that? Because I stared him down. Okay, so now do you want this referee to remember you as you actually get varsity minutes, and he calls 2 quick fouls on you, you go sit down?
Yep.
I wasn't thinking about that. Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's why you're going to sit down, so that way I can make it look like I took care of it. But we did take care of it, right? We ain't going to have this issue again, right? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a longer issue that at the time those students, athletes, and parents don't really think about. I mean, it just kind of, they're playing with their emotions, right? Which I get it, like obviously playing in a game, you get emotional for sure.
Right.
You also have to use your head at that time, because 2 quick fouls in basketball, you're out of the game for at least the second half, right? Obviously for soccer, like if you have like a yellow card, in soccer, now you're playing very cautiously.
Yep.
And now I'm gonna get upset because now you can only do so much with a yellow card, right? Like with one more card, you're done for the game, like and actually you're done for that game and the next game. Now that puts the whole program in a tough spot to kind of deal with.
So I definitely feel you on that one. All right, so all college athletes have time management and things that they have to do. Just elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, we always have that conversation with them, especially like just freshmen coming in, where, now that time is on you, right? Before you had to go on a specific schedule, to the T, and then now you kind of have more freedom to kind of deal with all that. And from experience, I wasn't always the best, to kind of have my own time and kind of do, things and making sure like I get my priorities straight. Where we talk to everyone, freshman and sophomore, back where in August, where we kind of set everything down. It's like, hey, like practice is at this time you got, and then from after practice you go to class. After class you gotta get your homework done. Which is a part of our ACE hours that we do. And then we still give them like a set schedule for the 5 months that we're in season. And then, we'll break that down for one part of the year. And then once the spring term hits, then we give them another 3 months to kind of go down, right? But we actually sit them down to time management, everything, right? Staying away from social media, staying away, from your friends or families for certain points to kind of knock out your work and your craft, right?
Yep.
If you want to get better, you want to achieve, making to the NCAA level, NAI level, it's like, just manage your time to be successful to get to those points.
Understood. Next one I want to touch on is offers versus interest. From the school standpoint, like us coaches offering something or having general interest in a kid.
Yeah, so I think interest for me is kind of like I started early because I know most of my kids are from the area, so they will tell me like who's potentially interested, and then I
Mm-hmm.
will start the initial conversation, whether that's through text, phone call, and things like that, and then kind of see just where their head is at. Because at the same time, like if that student already has a few schools in mind, and ECC is not really of interest to them,
Mm-hmm.
then essentially there's no, like I don't want to say there's no point, to kind of pushing it, but I
Okay.
don't want to, just burden that student, if, when I know that student and family aren't interested in the ECC.
Right.
So I want to, make sure that they understand, what we're looking for as far as a student athlete,
Mm-hmm.
and then what, we will look for if they want to be considered for a scholarship.
Right.
Whether that's, on the field and, like as far as like in class.
Mm-hmm.
I personally won't offer someone a scholarship until I actually see them play,
Right.
and then I would like I won't tell them like if it's gonna be a half a ride or a full ride until they actually visit our campus
Mm-hmm.
to kind of making sure that they are really interested like in the
Right.
program. Like I want to make sure that they feel at home and answer any questions before I give them that initial offer. Again, whether it's a full ride or half a ride, because I feel like if you offer them like right off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
they're just going there for the free money
Yeah.
essentially, right? And I get it, free money is great,
Mm-hmm.
but I want them to feel comfortable in the situation that they're in.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that they're asking questions, whether it's coaches or whether it's like the girls that we have on the team now.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure to kind of time manage that myself to kind of break that down. The first 3 months is me just calling them, emailing them, texting them,
Mm-hmm.
and then when their season starts in spring, that's when I start offering them scholarships.
Okay.
But also first, making them aware that come on campus with your parents to make sure all questions are being asked and that you feel comfortable with our school.
Gotcha. All right. So, how rewarding is it to see the women that you coached realize that all their hard work has not been in vain?
It's definitely been super, awarding to it, right? Especially when some of these girls or some of the student athletes who never really thought about it after high school,
Mm-hmm.
come in like just making a big impact not just for themselves but like the program in general, and
Yeah.
it's definitely I guess more rewarding, like even more is that when you see them kind of commit to a 4 year school after here,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it kind of like brings me like to like a emotional state, just because 2 years ago she had that individual had like a different mindset in
Yeah.
their head and stuff like that, and then them working their butt off and waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, to come back at 7, and just putting in that work and making it, and seeing the end goal, and
Mm-hmm.
then for them it's like like after 2 years I finally made it through like that, that hardship of it,
Yep.
being able to to commit to a school, and then also knowing that their tuition went from 40K a year to
Mm-hmm.
probably less than 15K
Yep.
a year, right? And that's rewarding for me, especially around this area
Mm-hmm.
where not everyone has that that deep pocket,
Yep.
right? And it's definitely nice seeing our community just attached to that, and making it's just cool.
Okay. Our last piece of situation we got is trophy time. So just let everybody know where they can find you, and that's about it.
Yeah. So as far as social media, you can find me personally at Coach Edwin Jar, both on Twitter and Instagram. And then we also have our soccer program one, which is ECC _ women's soccer. And you can just find our programs and what we do on there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.